Hey everybody, it's Jillian. So, yeah, I woke up late and there's a reason why. Because I needed to sleep. The last couple nights I have been sleeping so much cooler, even with the heat up. I actually felt a little bit cold and turned the heat up to about 71 degrees, though today it's going to be about 60 something degrees. But, yeah. And so I just, I think I had one dream of a package delivered to me, and it was dark outside. I looked out the window and there was a package, a square box, and that was it. I don't remember what was in it, so I don't know what that means. That's okay. My dog, she did get off the bed, but I didn't even hear her until she came back upstairs. And so when I went down there, when I went to the restroom, because I woke up, I saw that she had to pee and poo. So what is a good, some improvement is you're not peeing and pooing in the bed. Okay. And then that whole thing, I saw, just when I was just going through my timeline. So you can kind of see my pattern. Good morning, Audrey. My pattern, getting up in the morning, I look and see what's on Facebook. Maybe I'll read That Died Suddenly. I'll go read something else. I'll look at my newsfeed and I see at NBC, they actually sanctioned or confirmed that PMDD is an actual thing. Well, fuck yeah, it was. And that's what I dealt with my whole freaking life. PMDD was the thing that kicked my ass. Hey, Audrey. Okay? And that's what people are like, well, I don't understand why you have to go to sleep. I don't understand why you keep missing stuff. I don't understand why you keep calling in sick on a fucking Monday. What are you, lazy? You just want to sleep, Every woman deals with PMS. Well, here's the thing. PMS is like the hydra. Like the hydra making you so fucking crazy. That's what's going on, is that people... Here's the thing. Polyps and cancer and all that, that's the hydra basically trying to get you to replicate. Okay? Reproduce, replicate, reproduce. And you need to lengthen your telomeres. You need to prolong your life. You need to have a balance of the compilation of the hydra, the tardigrades, all the different parasites, protozoa, protein, fungus, and bacteria. They all are a community of organisms that must be balanced out. And when any one of those get out of whack, because I had pneumonia and then they gave me all these antibiotics, it made the hydra so much more stronger, so much stronger, that it was kind of like this little landmine that was waiting dormant, waiting for all the conditions to be right for then to finally trigger. And I couldn't tell you exactly what woke up that disease. I just remember when I was in the military, when after everything started. Okay? I think actually, yeah, it was when I did my second re-enlistment. And it was around 1998, 1999. And then when I went into the office, I worked on I think I did $7 an hour in California. They had a day job where I was some junior airman. And so I get paid minimum wage, like absolutely fucking nothing, especially back then. And I remember calling in sick and I'd be crying to my supervisor going like, I just can't get out of bed. I can't get out of bed. I can't fucking get out of bed. I feel like absolute fucking shit. I'm so depressed. This really sucks. And so then so then I think it was like a flu, or I think it was some kind of sickness. I would take my Theraflu, I would take whatever I could to manage it. Well, it never really helped, because then a month later it happened again. And then I would have a change in personality too. Yeah, and I get the depression, I get the change in personality. It was almost as if the hydra were just, they were fucking with me. And they have all the personalities. The hydra have the personalities, they have the dreams, they have the intelligence. The hydra are fucking intelligent. And so then I finally said, screw it, And so then I became really good at lying. Oh yeah, I have the flu, I have this, I have that. You have to be good at lying, because you don't know what else at lying about being sick. I am sick, but I don't know what so I kept saying I'd be good at lying and saying I have the flu. I have the flu, because it wasn't the flu. I don't know what the fuck it was. And then I became good at selling myself as far as getting new jobs. I knew what people wanted to hear when it comes to the employers. And so, yeah, you do gain skills when you were dealing with a condition where you don't know what it is. No one is sanctioning it. You go to every fucking doctor in the world. They can't tell you anything. Back then, I wasn't doing the holistic stuff. And so, yeah, I would ask my mother. I'd ask, she goes, go see a female doctor. Go get this. And what is it? Go get birth control pills. And here's, you know, this birth control pill will help with this. And so, yeah, well, guess what? The birth control pills are controlling the hydra, trying to replicate. That's the thing with reproduction, not staying alive and mitosis, but meiosis is the hydra trying to get you to go. They drop in eggs, right? You're dropping eggs. You're dropping little fucking fragments of yourself. Just like the hydra, when you touch them and there's fragments of them, they all turn into, then they multiply. You can't kill a hydra. And so when you have hydra inside of you, viruses, right? The diseases, everything that you come up positive on a titer test, that's all contributing to the start of disease and also of the innovation of the human. And so that's what polyps are. That's what polypeptides are. That's what cancer is. It's the hydra that merged in with you, that are trying to replicate. It's the asexual replication, which you can call mitosis, yeah, but it's in asexual reproduction in weird areas. Like when you get polyps on your asshole, you get polyps in different places, you get blumps and bumps and stumps, literally, all different places. That's the hydra trying to replicate. And when a person doesn't have a good release system, a good filtration and a good release system, guess what they're doing? They're housing all of those growths in their body. The hydra are multiplying and multiplying. And that's what I felt the late last summer when the frequencies woke up more of the hydra in the body. Because now we're in a higher frequency environment. It's waking up the beast within people. And that's why people are dying suddenly, or they're having their issues. And so we're in a higher frequency environment. The climate change, however you want to characterize it, it's waking up the beast within, and you're supposed to be releasing them, but people aren't. They're taking more drugs, they're taking more, more surgeries. And so, yeah, what woke up the beast way back in 1990 something was, I'm sure, I was in the Bay Area. Bay Area is full of experiments. Who knows what kind of frequencies were freaking going on? Okay, I mean, I was right next to Onizuka Air Force Base, big blue cube. We know that there's a lot of breast cancer in Marin County at some point. So who's to say that, I didn't get exposed to some kind of frequency that woke up the beast within from my childhood because of the pneumonia and then all the sulfa being used. And so then every time, I'd stir up the hornet's nest and I would get some kind of infection. Then I'd go take a fucking antibiotic. I took a sulfa, ended up in the hospital because then I became allergic to it. It brought up so many white blood cells, like basically your immune system going in and attacking. Okay, but your immune system, yes, it's polypeptides and proteins, but your immune system also has the hydra. And so part of you has a hydra of defenses, phagocytes, phages, phagocytes. That's what B cells and T cells are, phagocytes. And they can get programmed. They can program to be anything. The B cells and T cells, or T cell regulators and B cell regulators, are basically the hydra. And so that's why everything is surrounded by the hydra. How do you manage the hydra in the body? It's in all religions. It's in all politics. It's in all scientific dogmas. I don't understand why the virologists can't say this is just hydra. Hydra. Well, that sounds scary to people, right? When they say, well, your immune system is full of hydra. This therapy is full of hydra. This therapy has protein. Well, where the fuck did this protein come from? Well, it's from a hydra. That's part of that is part of the immune system of the world. See, you can't get away. The hydra are everywhere. You can't get away from them. Could they be in your water, even in your fresh water, your filtered water? Probably. Hydrate. I mean, hydroelectricity. I mean, there's water. Water is a conductor, but why is it a conductor? Well, it's a conductor. It has molecules. It has things. And does it have hydra? Potentially, but I mean, I don't know, that's why they've called hydroelectricity, but anything is possible at this point, you know, unless you have a microscope, an electron microscope that can look at every single body of water, every single water that comes through your house that's bottled, that says it's been purified, whatever that means, right? I mean, and so yeah, hydra are in everything. You can't get away from them. Your animals have them, but your animals have to deal with the balance of them. And so I woke up this morning like, I feel so calm, so refreshed. I feel like I just woke up to a beautiful morning, to a whole beautiful day, you know? I'm in the shower. I don't have to pick. I mean, I looked up there. There's nothing, or felt up there. There's no poop and everything. I'm okay. Nothing is at the edge looking to be pushed out. Okay, fine. What my body will go through, whatever process it has to go through. I brushed my teeth, you know, my dog is sleeping silently. I'm glad she pooped and peed downstairs because I couldn't wake up. I was fucking tired and not dreaming a lot, except for that one dream of dreaming of a box, a package, whatever that is. And so I just feel so calm. I feel very peaceful. And then when I read the thing about the PMDD, then it kind of brought back a little bit of like, finally brought back some memories. I still am smarting from. I'm still, you know, part of me. I mean, it'll wane over time. But whenever you see the word PMDD and then someone else getting diagnosed with it, and so they are suffering like I was suffering, I'm just like, fuck. That was my nemesis. All of my 30s, my 20s, I was just like off like a rocket. My 20s, I had hydra in me like you wouldn't believe. I was skinny. I was cute. I had nice skin, you know, yeah, I had a few boyfriends every so often. I would go to the clubs. Oh yeah, that's the thing, is the beautiful people who are skinny and whatever, playing those games, they have a lot of hydra in them. Well, I had a lot of hydra in me. It was then over time, the hydra did multiply, but the hormonal imbalances in the tardigrade, you know, and the hydra all were coming together, and it made me crazy. I had an imbalance, a hormonal imbalance. And it had to do with, yeah, tardigrades and hydras were controlling the tardigrades. And so, yeah, gaining a lot of weight. And of course, my PMDD got even worse and worse and worse, where I had to sleep, where I knew I had to sleep for like, you know, at least a few days. And I knew I had to be down. And then I knew I'd be so ravenously hungry the next, you know, day or whatever. And so I always put time aside to sleep and to eat and to get the poop out, which was like the period shits, I guess you call that. And yeah, it was a pretty miserable time in a world full of people who were cured, had access to all the cures, the fucking drugs. They had the great genetics, right? They had the great, they had the low frequency environment and the great high kinetic genetics. So then they could, you know, not be sick and not evolve, and then they'd be programmed by the system, and then they think, oh yeah, I'm healthy, I'm smart, and I'm this and I'm that, and I don't understand why you, Jillian, you keep job hopping and you keep sleeping and you keep doing this. And I'm just like, fuck. And that's why probably people did SUICIDE, because they didn't have those kind of genetics, those kind of programming in their body, that kind of hydra in their body, and they couldn't compete with those in the Bay Area. And so what do? They turned to drugs, alcohol, and other things, and they self-destructed. Well, I wasn't going to do, I did the pot, but I wasn't going to do, I mean, I did some alcohol, but I wasn't addicted. I didn't have any major addictions. It was more for me, it's just like I was having fun, but it wasn't a problem to me. I think the cigarettes was the biggest addiction. So I'll be honest with that. The cigarettes, which finally I'm done with, they're out of, you know, I'm done with the cigarettes. But that, you know, but I didn't have any major drug or alcohol issues. It was just more of a fun thing, and going to the clubs and playing that game and just getting my hydra energy out, right? And so then when I got married, I knew that I wasn't going to survive that lifestyle. Here's my dog. And so, hey, sugar. I wasn't going to survive that lifestyle, so I finally had to go get married. Look, she came down. I didn't even hear her come off the bed. Hey, sugar. Good girl. Look at that. She's going outside. Yeah, look at my, we gotta do some construction. But, good. Look at, she's peeing too. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? She came down and she peed. She didn't pee upstairs in the corner or anything. I think that's a fucking improvement. Considering, you know, 10 steps back and 50 steps forward, I love it. Fuck yeah. Sugar, you're such a good girl. Oh my God. All right. No. Okay. Good girl. Come on. Ah, she's strong enough. Oh my gosh. She's doing okay. So, yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So that was such a crazy time of just partying up. And so then the tardigrade and the crazy war became really exponential. The crazy war became exponential as I got older. And that's why I had to go get married. Because I knew that I couldn't do it on my own anymore. There was no freaking way. There was just too much going on. Too much I had to get done, and I couldn't do it. Even just being my own boss and outsourcing my ability to get clients wasn't even enough. Because there was just too much pressure. I was fucking dying. So, yeah. Here we go. Some doggy bones and stuff. Okay. So, yeah. And so then finally when the whole JJ world came around, that's when I was purging out the demons. And, yeah, I did get really skinny, but you'll die if you don't get off of any kind of aggressive element. Because you have to evolve. You have to release the demons. You have to be able to assimilate to your environment. You can't resist it. You can't try to anesthetize yourself, you know, over time. You really seriously have to assimilate. And so the whole JJ world is about the assimilation to your environment. It is the merging of the hybridizing yourself with the tardigrades, with the hydra, and with the human. You as the monkey prototype, okay? Or Homo sapien. And that's what they're trying to say in what AI and transhumanism. Yes, machines are going to do a lot of the work and all of that, and the machines are going to be a good go-to, but the machines are also going to be the equalizing force. So we don't trust humans who have issues to make decisions when you don't know where their decisions are coming from and what's controlling them. But then who is programming these machines? Well, those who are trying to get rid of the crazy-ass hydra that are controlling humanity and causing humanity to glitch. And so, is that a bad thing? No. Because we all know we had some, you know, windows of clarity, okay? And so, whoever is developing the machines and developing the surveillance society, developing, you know, your house and all the best practices, they have major windows of clarity. They're not dealing with psychopaths. We're not asking Charles Manson types or those of the type to go and develop best practices. No, they're getting the best brains in the fucking world to develop best practices, and then it gets translates into computer programming, AI, when you think about it, and they are developing a manual of life or of an infrastructure that when humans die because of the hydra taking them over, there is something there to rebuild society, should society fall to such a crazy extent. And will the humans that are left from the fall of society be able to rebuild the infrastructure or rebuild the population without going down the same road again? Abso-fucking-lutely. And so that's what the whole, you know, AI and the rise of the machines are. And so, you know, you can't get mad at it, but let me tell you, the process of purging out the excess hydra is like, yeah, it's difficult. It's fucking difficult. At some point, you will have that window of clarity, that window of moment of like, wow, there's a reason why you are suffering right now, because you are purging out the old world, but it's worth it. It really is. But no, it's not easy. And so, especially if you have an animal or anything else. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I'm trying to clean her dish because I got to feed her too, and I didn't do this before I did this transmission. But yeah, I mean, purging out the old world is not easy, but it's necessary. Yeah, you can look at my kitchen. Yeah. So purging out the old world is necessary, but it's not easy, but it is necessary. And it's painful. And yeah. And it's worth it though. But that's the thing, it's fucking worth it. It is so worth it when you finally purge out the old world. But it means you have to give time to it. it means you can't be blaming and getting upset. Yeah, it's going to be upsetting that your friends and family are dying from so many different things that you will blame to be something. And I get it, but what are you going to do? Hold on. Here you go, Shiggy. Good girl. Well, at least she has some food now. Hi, Shiggy. See, there she is right here. Okay, she's my little tardigrade. But yeah, I mean, it's worth it purging out the old world, but it is difficult. It takes a commitment to release those demons. Okay, when I'm hawking out loogies and all of that, and I'm pulling out the poop and all of that, no, it's not glamorous. Believe me. I don't love it, but it's necessary, and it gives me the control over my body where I don't have to pay somebody else to pull out my shit. Okay? I don't have to pay, I don't have to use a contraption. I don't even need to use gloves. There's nothing wrong with your poop. It's all of your byproducts, all of the waste material that your body doesn't need, and it was part of you, was in your body. And so it's not toxic to you, maybe to somebody else who might have, you know, a sensitivity to your microbes and your hydra, but, you know, you're not hanging out with somebody while you're doing this. This is a whole private situation. Okay? So, you know, that's why you have showers and bathrooms, and I'm gonna tell you, even a bidet isn't enough. You have showers and you have tubs and you have an excellent plumbing system, an excellent training system. Okay? And so, yeah, Sugar says hi. And so she's doing great. I mean, I'm telling you, it's tough to watch her change, because she was under a hydra programming where she was built like a brick shithouse. She really was. And she was bred to be that way. She came from, sure, a backyard breeder. That's the Humane Society. They pick up stray dogs all over. You don't know their history. You don't know. Yeah. I mean, and I remember a long time ago, we did pick up a puppy, and then we had to give it away when my husband and I first got together. And it was from a backyard breeder, but that was kind of the Ohio way back 10 years ago. I mean, it still is. But that's, you know, the world that my husband came from, is he had friends, and they were selling dogs, and they were all pit bulls, and there's so many pit bulls in my neighborhood. I mean, yeah, that's why I don't like really walking her too much, because these pit bulls come up to the fence and they're like this, and she's like this little tiny morsel, and you know, I know that it scares her, and so I wouldn't want to be walked right by some kind of big dog that wants to fucking eat you, that could bust through the fence and she could be victimized. So I just keep things on my property, because I know the world that I live in. I know how small she is. I know how small I am. I don't fuck with things out there so yeah, I mean, I protect her and protect myself at the same time. And so, yeah, she was bred to be whatever, but she also has a great predisposition as calm, that when she, like right now, lately, she used to not like jump and back up when I try to help her onto the bed. She would like jump up like a hydra, like a somersault. It was crazy. She would back up and jump, you know, when I try to help her, because she wants to be independent. And so that's her way of resisting, you know, my helping her. And also, you know, when she thinks she's going to bite me, she doesn't bite me. She goes like this, and then she yawns, and then she licks me. Okay. So that was bred into her not to bite. And so, you know, but that's a good thing. And she's also very sweet. And so see, if you see, like, I don't know if you can see under her, but there's that mass that's under her belly. Okay. It's like rubbery. Let me see if I can find a way to, let me see. Sugar. Shiggy, come here. Stay right here. See? So you can see under her carriage, there's that mass. It's not bad, but it's rubbery. Okay. And that's what is needing to be released. I'm not going to get it surgically taken out. It's not hurting her. It's just to the side. You want to go outside again? It's just to the side, and it's not blocking anything. It's not blocking her movements. It's just a rubbery mass. It's just rubbery. It's movable. It's pliable. And so, you know, there's no reason for me to piss off the hydra that are making that up. And so the body has to go and release it. Okay. You're okay? Alright. Alright, let her go do her thing. And so the body has to go and release it. But she's fine. You know, but she does eat at night. She does eat at night, and she does do her rounds at night. And she doesn't go down the steps because right now the steps are kind of fucked up. And she's not super, like she's like reborn again. She has to relearn this stuff until that mask comes out of her body. Right. Yeah, hold on, I'll read that in a minute, Andrian. Yeah, so until that mask comes out of her body, you know, I just have to just deal with whatever. And so her body has antibodies that are working for her, that are the hydra working for her. And so I just let things go and let her eat and sleep and poop whenever she needs to. And that's really all you can do. There is no intervention. Absolutely no intervention at all. Medical intervention will only destroy, you know, your animals. And so if you can handle the chaos from, you know, unpredictable body movements and body releases, then yeah, hold on a second. Hold on. Why should you? Good girl. Good girl. Let me pour myself some more coffee here. And so yeah, it's the rise of the tardigrades and the rise of the hydra. But let me see something here. And so yeah, so I finally had to finally release those demons, and it's a lot to release. It's a lot to release, and it takes a minute, more than a minute. It's taken me at least 6 years, at least 7 years, 6 years, 7 years, and that's a lot of years. That's like all. If you were to start now, some of you may actually see some relief after 2030, because your lifestyle still has to come into play. You still have things to do. Okay. And so what did Andrian say? He says, "You're cool. I just saw a random short video from YouTube yesterday about the hydra parasite bacteria invertebrates that can live forever and split themselves, cell clones, like tardigrade bear on the sea animal classification, especially in virus kingdom. And you discussed it was yesterday and a few hours later. But scientists say this hydra will die if its genes are diseased or predatory. If it will die. They don't die, actually. It will die if... See, here's the thing. They die, yes, in high heat. Okay? And they die of high heat. And yeah, disease means you don't get enough nutrients. Okay? They're predatory anyways. They don't die from being predatory. They are predatory. But predatory means that they're ambush type of animals, which means that they hide, you know, places and wait for the food to come to them. But when you mix them with tardigrades, okay, tardigrades are carnivorous and they can be predatory. Okay, and so then when you mix in the tardigrade and the hydra together, right, because the tardigrade will be influenced by the hydra, because that's how shit works. You know, each animal influences each other if they're strong enough. So the tardigrade has a cavity big enough to fit in small little tiny hydra, and then also the tardigrades can become bigger as the environment allows it to get bigger. In a high heat environment, can you imagine how big tardigrades can be? Yeah. Tardigrades, then when they have all the hydra influencing them, they turn into humans. And you have the human prototype too. So you have 3 of those. Because when you if you just look at the body type of our tardigrade, and you look at some people in our society, you kind of see the correlation of the microbe world looking like the humans in the macro world. And so, yeah, so when you mix in tardigrade and hydra together, you have then a predatory type of thing. And so Charles Manson probably had a lot of hydra in him, less tardigrade, a lot of hydra. Yes, cannibalistic too. And so a lot of the serial killers, those that kill their kids, well, I don't say kill animals. You have to, hunting has some hydra in it. So yeah, anytime you kill something and you're okay with killing something, there is a certain amount of hydra in you that allows you to take a life, even if it's an animal life. But we have found a way to psychologically be okay with killing animals for food, but now, I don't know. That's where things are kind of going to the wayside. That's why biotech is now trying to develop food without having to kill animals, because we're not trying to be killers anymore and being predatory. Because when you have something like that, then translate into the population, then you have people who are serial killers, or who get triggered and kill, you know, their girlfriends or boyfriends, domestic violence. You have bullies in our society that take on those characteristics. Okay, so even though they may not physically kill someone, they try to kill somebody's spirit by bullying them on a constant basis, like a constant attack. And you see all that all over. The cancel culture is all about the bullying people, right? It's one thing to say what you got to say about society as in itself, how it needs to be cleaned up and all that. But when you make it personal with a specific person, then that's where the hydra, cannibalistic, and killer instinct comes from. But they breed that into capitalism. They breed that into competition with companies when they're trying when the agents are the life insurance agents, the insurance agents, sales agents, when they're cannibalizing each other to get ahead. That's the hydra mentality. That's what's been bred into people. And so then that translates into competing for women, competing for men, and then also competing for cheerleading or sports, football, politics, religion, and science. Okay, then you see how then the hydra are getting out of control. The predatory, cannibalistic, kill or be killed instinct. And so I think now in the future, I think the New World Order is now trying to eradicate that type of personality and that type of way of living, which really isn't living, it's basically killing, and now have a more peaceful society, because we wouldn't have a law enforcement and all these agencies if we had balanced people who were not to kill each other in body, mind, and spirit. But that's, again, where politics, religion, and science come from. It's the hydra personality. And so that's why all religions are about fighting the hydra. They're fighting themselves. Because politics, religion, and science is always about finding an enemy or a hero to worship, but never about prolonging their own lives and balancing their own selves, or always looking outside for somebody else to blame or someone else to give credit to for why they are where they are or why they aren't where they are. And so I think that when you finally purge out that hydra, that killer instinct, okay, and you purge out that programming, that's when you feel peaceful. That's when I felt peaceful, when I purged out a lot of that programming, even back in 2016, 2017. So I remember sitting in my other house, looking out the window at the trees, going like, I have a whole sense of calming. And it was very short-lived, because I didn't realize that was the calm before the storm. But I felt a sense of calming. Like, I calmed down the hydra with the salt. That's what people love me, because the calming down of that hydratic energy. But little do they know that was only short-lived, that was temporary, because we are in the climate change, and that climate change is like a bug zapper. It's drawing out the hydra, and it's pissing people off. Okay? And then you have to go and release it. You can't kill it. There's no way to fucking kill it. Because even the high heat, if there's heat that was high enough to kill the hydra, it would kill you too. So you don't want to be around high heat that will kill the hydra. Okay? So then the heat is just bringing them out. It's kind of pissing them off. And then you have to be the one to release them. You can't kill them. People have tried in the medical system. They've used every single fucking supplement, pill, powder, whatever, turmeric and honey and apple cider vinegar. They've used the different vectors to go and try to go after them. They've used so many means, oncology, and it doesn't work. It gives you a stay of execution. It makes your leaving this world maybe peaceful, maybe if you're lucky. But then they died suddenly. Yeah, that's the peaceful way of leaving, right? Well, not really, because I'm sure those moments before you're gone, it's a moment of feeling like panic. Can you imagine when someone dies suddenly and the hydra are replicating so quickly because of a frequency, and something woke up the demons, and then they just go after the person on the inside, and the person feels a strangulation, like they can't fucking breathe, or they feel like something is like clutching their heart that's so constricted. I mean, I can't imagine what a died suddenly person feels like moments before they die. It's rather grim, and you don't want to end up that way. So what the New World Order is trying to do is get rid of the suffering. Well, the suffering is when someone is managing a cancer disease and chronic illness and an autoimmune disorder, and they're trying to find every single drug in the book, trying to find this, trying to find that, and the system, I'm sure, is tired of trying to figure out what kind of new drug to help this person deal with their hydra. They're like, this is just a waste of resources. Well, how do we save the planet and save humans? Well, a lot of those who are completely infested have to go if they can't handle the purging process. And so even if you're type A and B and you have a lot of hydra in you, which is great, you're geniuses, you're amazing, as long as you can handle the release process, okay, then the system will have no issue with you. It's when you can't handle the release process, the purging process, is when the system will have an issue, and that's when you're always going to the doctors to get this, and that done. Even though you're paying for it and you paid insurance for it, the system is still not really excited that they have so many people coming to them. But right now, at this point, it's happening. This is the last money grab. When you raise the frequencies and all the hydra come out, everyone's feeling their shit. Literally, they're feeling their shit. And they don't want to feel it. And they're going to the doctors to get something taken out or getting something put in. Or some new medication. Or they're on TikTok going like, here's my death process, just watch me die for the next 2 years. Yeah, the system is the last money grab right now. And so if you can find a way not to partake in that, okay, you might have a chance and you can purge out your own demons without freaking out. But again, you know, if you're not used to doing that and you like the way the jade juice felt for that moment in time, well, it's not going to last very long, because breakthrough infection is inevitable, especially when the frequencies go up and down. Yesterday, the last couple of days, it's been like, what, 38 degrees, 30 degrees, and now we're heading into 41, and it's going to be 60-something degrees today. And yes, RSV is being passed around with all these children. Children are experiencing RSV, and they're experiencing died suddenly. That's the scary thing that's going on right now, is that even these kids will not be able to handle this environment because the hydra are going to be coming to surface. And but how do you get those demons to release? Well, here's the thing. Once you rustle up the hornet's nest inside of a child's body as well as an adult body, you're going to watch them go. You're going to watch like an exorcism. They're going to have behavioral problems. My dog, she didn't have behavioral problems, but she had incontinence issues. She had seizures. She was throwing up stuff. She'd be running around in circles doing the zoomies. So, but she didn't have, like, the violent predisposed issues. But some kids have violent predisposed issues. Some animals have those predisposed issues. And you have to watch, you have to go through those phases until those phases are gone, whatever they are. And you know that your community and your friends and family are not going to like watching that. They're going to be like, oh my God, something's wrong with little Johnny, Billy, and Susie. You got to go take them to the doctor, go get them on drugs or something. And so, yeah, the only way for you to get your kid whole again is if you had no one around you that can witness you getting your kid whole again. And that's probably not very possible in this society, given how everyone is in each other's business. Your neighbors are up in your business. Your friends, your family are up in your fucking business. You put your business out there, okay? And so if you don't want anyone, commenting or in your business, then you have to be silent on Facebook. You have to be silent on social media. You can't really say anything to anybody. You're in it on your own. And people are going to do what they're going to do, and then, either they end up in the news because they did something stupid, like starve their kid because their kid's the mother's a vegan or a vegetarian and wasn't giving the kid the full diverse nutrition. And so they end up on the news later on down the road when they did things silently. So, either way, you're going to end up either saving your kid or destroying your kid if you don't know what you're doing. So you might as well, just understand how shit works and do the best you can. And I hope you fucking survive. That's really all I can say, because there is no right way at this point. The only right way is you understand that the society you live in, you act accordingly. That's it. But if you don't know what you're doing, go see a fucking doctor. That's all I can say. That's all I can say, especially with children. If you don't know what you're doing, if you seriously don't know what you're doing, go see a fucking doctor. If you know what you're doing, you better hope you don't end up on the news. And I'll tell you, a lot of people who are out there who are very imbalanced, that are they're run by the hydra, end up in the news. A lot of them are in the activist world, who are in those diet groups. But my information is geared for those who are relatively independent, who are cognitively aware, who can go to the grocery store and get their food, who can pay their bills, who has a car or money for delivery services, who kind of understand what's going on and can handle the pain of evolution. And it can also manage everything else in their life that needs to be managed. And if they have to cut down, things, then they can do that. And they're strong enough to say no in the face of adversity. When your friends are like, hey, come out, it's a Friday night, come out, come drink, come do this. And you're like, nope, I'm done with that. I'm done. This is not about me and my dog and my kid, and that's it. Or my husband, and we're cutting down on all of that stuff, and now we're paying attention to ourselves. That's the kind of person I want, because I'm going to tell you, the temptations are going to be knocking at your door, because everyone's hydra are coming to surface, and they're all out there drinking and doing drugs and trying to be entertained because they're tortured by the fucking hydra. And then you got to be the one to say nope, because the more that you don't pay attention to yourself, the more you whatever. How are you going to come back from that in this environment? How are you going to do that? How are you going to maintain a social life and your job? Some things have to go. But I guess if you think you can do everything, okay. I don't know. I cut down my social life. I have absolutely no social life except for my husband. That's it. And I purposely took that away because I knew what I was dealing with. And I didn't want to be caught up in somebody else's drama either. So that was the other side of it. Is that when you have a heavy social life, then you get caught up in other people's drama. And then, yeah, forget it. And how can you have any peace to actually heal and release? And so you have to really have a relationship with your Netflix, with your television, with your Facebook, with your social media, with writing, so that way you can still keep motor neurons going in your brain, and you're not needing to have somebody else stimulate you, because you can stimulate yourself intellectually, physically, whatever. Okay. It's when you finally separate yourself from the crowd, can you finally realize that you were using them to stimulate something, to give you that release. And now that you don't need it anymore, you can now partake in it without abusing it and having it destroy you. Okay, and that's the whole thing with the JJ world. That's exactly what it is that you are now finally self-sufficient in the ways that make sense. You still need your society and the infrastructure, but you're not using other people to stimulate you into life. And that's what indefinite life is. Okay. And so anyways, so polyps and polypeptides, let's see. Viral phages, hydra, polypeptide, polyps. Yeah, it's all the same stuff. So when George Bush was getting tested for polyps in his anus or something, in his colonoscopy, and they found polyps. Yeah, that's the hydra. That's the hydra planting themselves, doing the sacred geometry of immortal, of just sending off spores and having them go and attach themselves to things, and then growing and growing and growing. And then, yeah, the teratomas are the same thing. It's the hydra and the human and the tardigrade then growing another human on top of the human. And so when you have a teratoma with eyes and a nose and a mouth and teeth and all that, yeah, that's the hydra then replicating and replicating and replicating, influencing its host. Okay? Because remember, you're a host. You are a host in your body. You're a host in your house if you have a bunch of guests that come over. And so you're hosting so many things that will want to keep replicating and want to also develop even another version of you. And so you have to really be on top of that by releasing those demons, by blowing your nose, pooping, pulling out the programming, being sick when you have to, not taking antibiotics, staying away from the supplements world, staying away from anything in the holistic medicine world, staying away from all that. And you understand your own system. Okay, and that's what's going to have you live indefinitely, and also adapt to the frequencies in the environment. And so, hydra, the presence of peptide hormones in coelentrates. Hydra, a small freshwater polyp consists of cylindrical body with a mouth at one end. Okay? So then you see peptide of hormones. Hydra is polypeptide. It's the polyps in people's bodies. Okay? So now you're seeing how the words, they're not going to tell you this in fucking science. Everything is so compartmentalized and broken up that one word will represent one industry, another word will represent another industry. So when you think about polyp, that's one industry. That's the medical industry. Polypeptide is the biotech side of it, right? So they understand polypeptides while the medical industry deals with polyps, and then the people are dealing with polyps, but they understand that polypeptides and polyps and hydra and virus and phages are all connected because everything is compartmentalized. Everything is separated for a reason, so you don't make those connections. And so when you're only compartmentalized in the polyps world, then you deal with medicines around polyps because you're told a story about polyps. And then when you're in biotech and you're dealing with polypeptides, then you're told how to deal with polypeptides and how to do this and do that relative to the intention, whatever their research is, whatever product they're putting out there. You're dealing with polypeptides and amino acids, okay? And so then both peptides and proteins are made up of a string of a body's basic building blocks, amino acids. So then you have another industry, another compartment, another department within biotech deals with amino acids and how they deal with stuff. And then your boss tells you, okay, I want you to do something with this amino acid, make it do this, this, and this. And so then you, as the scientist or the student, goes out and looks for specific things in the backyard, like that one website that tells you where they get the names of the hydra. Okay? And so you're told to go find these things, right? And go do a little treasure hunt. Oh, Lordy. And so that's how compartmentalized even science is in academia. Academia is really fucking good at compartmentalizing everything. That's the whole Greek way. The Greek system is all about, developing personalities and archetypes and attaching them to the science side of it, to the microbe world. And so then it's all separated. So if you're studying Greek mythology and theology, then you're all about, oh yeah, Jesus and all his disciples and Satan and Lucifer. Oh, and Zeus and Aphrodite and Athena, and you're all down those rabbit holes. So you never make the fucking connections, but you know everything about fucking Athena, you know everything about Zeus, you know everything about this. And then when you're going down the theology rabbit holes, you know everything about Jesus and all of his disciples, you know everything about the Roman stuff, you know everything about the scripture, right? And so now you're down in that rabbit hole, completely fucking blinded, totally tunneled. And then you have the science world that are all into their polypeptides and amino acids and whatever. And so everyone's in their freaking, their functional silos. And there is no cross-functional communication except for the Catholic Church and the medical system. There's the cross-functional communication between the higher ups. All the politics, all the people who are 33rd degree Masons, who are the titans of industry, they are the cross-functional communication up there, while the people below are all running around doing all their biddings, their little minions. So when you have a bachelor's degree, an associate's degree, even a doctorate, you're a fucking minion for all those up there that already have the bigger picture, and you're just contributing to the bigger picture, but you have no idea what you're contributing to. Okay? That's how this fucking works. That's the whole pyramid. That's everything in the bottom is doing everything compartmentalized while the top knows how everything works. And so that's the Jewish mysticism part of it. When you have two inverted triangles that are together, that's the stability. That's the 6 sides. That's the stability. That's the 3-folded proteins. And then you have the cross, which is the 4 points, which is the crossroads. You can choose either side, life or death, human. And then you have the 5 points, the pentagram, the pentacles. That is instability. That there is something going on. There's something disease here that's going to end up in death. Which, Andrian, you're right. Yeah, when a hydra has disease, it'll die, but it'll still give off, fragments of itself to go and rebirth itself. So it doesn't really die. It just I mean, again, hydra are immortal. They don't die. They just reproduce. I guess, is that dying? I guess it could be, or not. I don't know. And so, okay, so that's the religion side of it all, and then you have the scientific side of all that. But I mean, so that's the pyramid that tells you how compartmentalized everybody is. I mean, it's all in plain sight. You just have to understand how to read the symbols that are out there. Okay? And so a polyp is a projecting growth of tissue from a surface in the body, usually a mucous membrane, polyps can develop in the colon and rectum, ear, and canal. Okay. So, so polyps are really, it's the hydra, but you can't get rid of the hydra in your body. You just have to merge with them and you have to assimilate with them. Just like with every other thing in the body that you're host to. You are a host. That's what I need to make. I need to make that distinction, that humans and animals are hosts. And there's no way around it. You are a host to a community of organisms. Holy shit, that is an excellent, oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Because if people don't understand that they are hosts, no matter what, then they will try to destroy anything that's within their body that's keeping them alive. That's the issue, is that people don't know that they are hosts to everything. And so any kind of infection they have, they try to go and kill it. You can't, because you as a host need your guests in your house. Okay, do I need the guests in my house? Well, I don't need the human guests in my house on a daily basis. The microbial guests, yeah, well, I keep them under control. That's why I clean my house occasionally. But I mean, that's the thing, the trinity of life and death, is that you understand that you are the host. And so that's the top of the pyramid, that's the host. And everything below the top of the pyramid, below the tip, below the capstone, is all the microbes and the support system to keep the host alive. And so humans and animals are the host, and they have the community of organisms to keep them alive. And if they do not understand they are the host, they will try to destroy imbalances, try to destroy infection rather than balance and purge the infection, not kill it. See, and that's the issue. People are trying to kill their infection with antibiotics, with surgeries, with, attack it with other hydra. Okay, so what do you think all the therapies are? Well, they're giving you a SPIKE, PROTEIN, and go and activate your immune system. And that's what all people in the diet-settling groups are having an issue with. Abso-fucking-lutely. But you already hold that shit inside, and you never were healthy. You were just managing your shit. It was under relative control. But in this environment, when they are changing the frequencies, they are rustling up the hydra that are already inside of you. So when they say, well, a perfectly healthy person just passed away, and they were, they had the ice cream, which is, whatever, the name, the code name for the V's. Well, in this environment, no. I mean, because you saw people were dying and having diseases and all that stuff when COVID came around before the V's. But see, no one wanted to make the connection that the frequencies brought up the hydra, brought up people's heart attacks and strokes. I know people who had heart attack and stroke and all that stuff way back in February of 2020. Yeah, my husband basically almost fell off the back of the truck. He almost passed out when the frequency came through. Then he had to go to the hospital because he thought he had a heart attack. It was just indigestion, or it was just some kind of major acid reflux that made him pass out. Okay? So it wasn't like, it wasn't from the V, because there was no V to be had. It was the frequencies that really fucked with people and caused heart attacks, strokes, people passing out. We saw what happened over there in China. They didn't have a V yet. But the frequencies is what caused people to, certain genotypes to pass away right on contact. And so now that we have a V, now it's now easy to blame, right? But people are not taking into account that's the frequencies that are encouraging it. And the climate change. And so, yeah, even if you never had a V, or never exposed to someone who had a V, and you change the frequencies in the environment, you're gonna have your hydra are gonna come up to surface and wage a war. And so is your immune system. And so you are a host. And you have to know that you are a host and you have to keep your fucking kids under control. You are a parent host. Humans are the host / parents. Okay? And so you have to keep those babies under control, just like the government has to keep all the citizens under control. I mean, it's an ongoing thing, you know. You have the government oversees all the people, and then you have your specific organizations that are ahead of an organization, like a CEO that oversees all the people. Then you have, you know, you and your family, who's the head of the household. Well, my husband's head of household on our taxes. And so if he's head of household, then I'm just kind of, my dog and I are the dependents, I guess. And so everything is based upon a parent cell that is managing the children, the guests. Parent, host, same thing. Host has to oversee the guests, make sure the guests aren't tearing shit up. Parent has to make sure the kids aren't tearing shit up. The government has to make sure that the society isn't tearing itself up. And on and on and on it goes. And then all the queen bees, you know, are trying to keep their circle of people, you know, under control. But you know, I manage my own. I have my own stuff to manage. I have to manage myself, my animal, you know, my husband. He manages me, my household. That's enough. I don't want to manage anybody else. I don't want to manage any kids. I don't want to manage any social groups. You know, I have a group that there is absolutely nothing going on except that I post stuff in there and people read it and that's it. Some will contribute a little bit, but that's about it. Nothing crazy. And I don't want that. That's why I don't want my group to be managed or become so huge where it's like 100,000, because I give a lot of credit for those that are managing 100,000 people group. That's fucking awesome. And you're on a mission, and I admire that. It's a mission that you're not going to win because you have to survive it. And who's to say that you're going to survive your mission? But I admire the passion. Okay. And I understand where they're coming from. It's just going to take another layer for them to peel back, for them to realize that the war is already won. Now they're just watching you flail around, and it sucks. But that's what's going on. The war has already been won. Whoever waged a war on you already won the war. Whenever you wage a war on something, whatever, you already have to win it before it's even started. That's the whole art of war. Okay? That's the whole art of war. Is that when war is waged, you know, whoever wages that war first is the one that is going to win. Most likely. And if you wage war and there's no guarantee that you win, then why the hell did you do that? Why would you wage a war that you can't guarantee to win? But when I waged a war against the medical system and against whatever, I fucking won because I finally proved it. Okay? But, you know, if I really thought that I didn't have something, believe me, I wouldn't have put it out there. But some people will put stuff out there, not realize and wage a war, and then they lose. Well, you don't know who they are. Well, let me tell you. How do you know when someone wages a war that they're going to win? Well, you don't. But now the thing is that if you're going to wage a war, you better fucking win it. You better fucking win it. And what does that winning look like? Well, it ain't going to be uprising and, you know, taken to the White House, because we already saw what happened, not the White House, but to Congress. You already saw what happened in January 6th, so you can't do that. So how are you going to win the war then? You got to fucking survive whatever it is that you think is happening. Because you can't stop and control other people. You really can't. So, anyways, so yeah, we're in a war that you personally can win if you understand it, but you have to step out of the other wars that you're in. And if you don't step out of the other wars that you're in, you're not going to fucking win. Because you're too divided and you're stretched too thin. When you stretch your resources too thin, you'll starve, and you also will destroy yourself. And people are stretching themselves way too thin out there, fighting so many wars and so many battlefronts that they don't even know, they're not even familiar with. And so the thing is, if you know, you have to become familiar with your body, mind, and spirit, and the food supply, and don't demonize it, and then you can win the war. And you don't even have to lift a finger to fight anything, do anything. But the war also is money. Remember, war is money. War is money. And so people out there are fighting their wars, they're getting their GoFundMe accounts. They have all their support systems. They have their TikToks or YouTubes. They're monetized. So when you fight a war, it's money, right? Just like, you know, World War II, World War I. Vietnam War, Iraq and Iran War, the Gulf War, the war in Afghanistan. It's all money. All of it's money. When you're not so greedy for money, you'll stop waging wars, everybody. Now it's just information. And that's where everything is connected. All right. I'm going to go write some stuff here. But yes, humans and animals are the host parents. And they have a community of organisms to keep them alive. And you can't kill your guests. You can't kill your children. You can only support them and help them get through and assimilate. Okay? And Hydra are your guests. But they can become out of control. They are like your children. Immature. They're not programmed to do anything. And when you have out of control children, they're like the vampiruses. The little baby vampires. The Hydra, little baby Hydra. Wreaking havoc. All right. I'm going to talk to my husband. He just called. Talk to you guys later. Bye.